Yo, yo, yo. Yo, yo, yo. What's up, man? Tickles, Devin, Einstein, Pro Mago. What's up, dude? Tell me the good. Tell me the good. Tell me the bad. There's no bad, man. There is just goodness. All right. Loving the price action here. We're going to talk about it. Talk about the whole deal, man. All right, guys. So AMC is breaking out, currently breaking out of its projector pattern. Okay, this lovely projector. All right, this is a breakout. Now, a few things to consider with the price action right now. It's Tuesday, up 15%. There are two scenarios that I have laid out on the charts, and right now the only one that is playing out is this guy right here, right? Okay, so initially we had the no retest, but it does look like AMC ended up bouncing off of this retest, so that's good news. And the price targets, guys, they hold, right? The $8 range holds in the short term. Now, I have been looking at a few other reference patterns that I'm going to be tracking here, formulating another scenario based on those. But right now, intraday, the volume's kicking in a little bit. As long as we start triggering that $6 range, if we get up there to the $6 range, this thing can continue to go. Yeah, this guy right here. GME's on the move as well. Paramount, yep, Paramount's on the move. Dude, this is crazy, man. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff happening right now in the markets. Okay, so I do have, and I have been running the scanner as well, guys. Scanner, I'm gonna be pulling it out, throughout the stream here for you guys to kind of see how that works. We ran the scanner earlier today on Paramount. Have a little preview of that here. I'll bring it up real quick. But this is pretty much how it works, right, on the Discord now. Its name is Plotzy. You pretty much enter a ticker on the channel. It asks you for the intervals, the length, and then it'll start scanning and come up with some matches. So the highest correlation is going to have top 5. Pretty much scans a large catalog of stocks. I do this with AMC pretty much every day just to see what new reference patterns have come up. So that is a nice little tool that's available on the Discord now, guys, if you want to check that out. Okay, so AMC, man, this reversal here is looking exactly like this reference pattern here. This reference pattern is the only one right now that I think is going to track. If we do reach that $6 range, I think this is going to be the best reference pattern to track. Here are the patterns, the short-term patterns that we tracked for a little bit, and the one in red here is going to be that guy. Everything else, guys, so with, we have the shorter shorter term patterns here. These are just POIs that ended up playing out, micro POIs that ended up playing out, but they're no longer tracking on the macro, right? So even this one right here is no longer tracking on the macro. So the only two that I'm really looking at right now is Carvana and this other pattern here to track. This is JAGX, Jaguar, I believe it's Jaguar Health or something. And it did this a little bit ago, but look at the series of projectors it has here. So pretty much what this pattern is going to end up doing. And right now, I've already updated. Keep pulling that up for some reason. I've already updated the reaccumulation pattern here on the macro to pretty much add a new stage here. It just connects the projector, guys. It's a version of a projector pattern. So we have a small projector here and then another, we'll call it another theta channel before the volatility zone kicks in. In this case, it's a little bit extended, but the POI on this pattern also has it playing out a little bit earlier. So it could happen, it could happen this week. But yeah, but honestly, guys, this is truly awesome stuff, man. Already AMC checking out, not wanting to come down into that $4 range anymore, and just making its way up, dude. Guys, make sure you are liking the hell out of that stream. All right, that like button, spam it out. Support the channel. Let's bring some peeps up in here and rally around the family, man. Okay. Something else I like to do is play around with these candles, man. These lovely candles on the daily chart. Cool. So on the daily chart, we have enough data here. Well, no, not the daily. I meant to say the weekly. The weekly, I like scanning the weekly chart. I like using this indicator to scan the weekly chart to really see how these guys are, what they're trying to do by each week, pretty much weekly expirations, right? Well, like how they're going to drive the price. If you guys saw the video I posted yesterday, it pretty much talks about this, how when you have this giant curve that market makers are following, they pretty much, they have a lot of room to pump the price, bring it back down to the cycle, right, back to the curve. And that's kind of how I treat the weekly candles as well. There could be a lot of volatility taking place, but I mean, look at this candle, right? You have two volatility events, and then the price comes down to pretty much where it started. So I love to look at stuff like this, guys. It gives you a nice little, just a nice little way to see what these market makers have in store, right? And what we're going to do next, now we have a lot of green candles here. This is going to be potentially our fifth green candle on the weekly chart, and there's a massive gap up here. So this is a good sign going into the June 21st expiration date. We could end up having a pretty big green candle for this week. Let's see what that would look like. Yeah, so if it goes all the way up to 7, it would look like that. I mean, yeah, if it went up to like $8 and then it came back down and then back up. I mean, here, let's pull up that pattern I'm talking about here, because I think it's gonna make more sense. Here is Jaguar Health is what it is. $42 days for the next POI. 42 would be right here. March 5th to April 15th. I don't. These guys had a split like recently, I think. So the option chain might have not been a huge. There might have not been a lot of volume on the option chain with this stock at the time. Let me just make sure. Yeah, they just had a split, reverse split, 1 for 60. So that's a lot, dude. What the heck? Yeah, no, so this was trading in the pennies. This was trading at like 6 cents or something at when it was doing this. So the option chain wouldn't have been really a tool or anything these guys would have used for pumping the price up, but the pattern structure is still definitely very relevant for this. We do have. We start checking some of the sections out here. So we have the triple, a version of the triple top, which AMC did over here, and then this is the projector, right? The projector could be a mix of this right here. It's right here, and then it just starts shooting up. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much how I have it laid out here. It's a little bit quicker. Awesome. All right, let's read the chat. Stanley, what's up, man? Wesley, how you doing? McCon, Matt, Rick. Some of the bands, man. Yeah, it was all Muse. Muse was pretty big here on the rallies. The Strokes we played, Rage Against the Machine, and then a bunch of disco, dude. A bunch of disco. We had ABBA, the Bee Gees, and then some modern disco as well, man. Some pretty dope modern disco like Justice. Big on Justice Dance. intraday chart for AMC. Let me see if I can run the scanner and see what it pulls up here on the 2-minute chart. If it allows me to, because doing all this on my computer, I need to get an external cloud to run the software. It's not currently posted anywhere else, so I run it through my computer, even on the Discord. Okay. I'm going to attempt to do this, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to stop it. Okay, it's working. So we'll let it run for a little bit and see what the matches come up with. Okay, cool. All right. All right, let's go ahead and check out some indicators. One of the things I don't really cover on the videos that I post are indicators. I do most of this on the live streams. So we'll go over some of these indicators, guys. I use the ROC changes. Most of you are familiar with this one. Levels is also very good at showing oversold and overbought territory. So definitely got to zoom out with any indicator. I try and really use the hourly or plus for any sort of analysis. Anything on the micro, you're going to get into the a lot more volatility, and there's more room for error with that kind of thing. So hourly right now, a good sign for the hourly indicator here on changes. We are still following a bullish trajectory. We are respecting support, okay, on both the chart and the ROC indicator. Again, projector pattern shooting up to price. Parameter I'm using right now is 1,000, so I am going to narrow that down a little bit to 100. Is that 1,000 on the hourly? Here we go. Cool. Yeah, so we're back and brushing the threshold, guys. We are back in that 0 threshold, so that's good. Normally, when you come into that range, coming from a low here. So the last time we had a -30 or close to -30 was May 30th. We got down there, and then we had this volatility zone. It goes up all the way up to that 40% range, and we're just brushing that threshold right now. Here are a few other times it's done that in this range over here. Okay, there's a lot more consolidation, though. After this rally, man, so not necessarily. So the reference patterns that I'm tracking, like even though they call for downside, it doesn't have to be tracking one to one. The more important thing to do here is track the levels as they are being hit, right? So with this pattern being here on the hourly chart, I can already see that two major levels have been hit, and that is the $6 and the $7 range. The one that has not been hit yet is 8, and this is just a way to with the other reference patterns that we were tracking as well, we already checked off some of these levels, so it's more likely that we are somewhere in this range for this pattern. And it's also possible that we're in a version of this right here. If we're in a version of that, then we are going to see more choppy price action. Even if it starts coming down tomorrow, okay, it's more likely that we would continue to follow a bullish trajectory, just making that parallel channel. Otherwise, if that's not the case, then I would see the $8 range being hit very soon, and we just start doing this section of the reaccumulation pattern here. But it doesn't like a major drop like this. I mean, we've seen it time and time again on both GameStop and AMC, so it doesn't surprise me at all. Does not surprise me at all that is how these guys want to pump AMC at the end. They slow ride, but this just shows, AMC's not done. I mean, stocks that end up falling and continue to fall, continue to make lower all-time lows. I mean, they will keep on that trend, and AMC's been doing a really good job at just bouncing back from the $4 range. So that's a good sign. Another pattern I found is Perry here. This is this is probably the one that I think is going to end up playing out. I had the projection I posted on, what was it? It wasn't. I don't think it was the last video. It was the one before that, where I talk about not having a retest because it's too predictable, right? This retest ended up crossing below support at the 450 range. Did not retest, or it did retest the support trend line, right? But we didn't have that quick bounce to $8, or at least we don't have it yet. I will say, guys, if it does stop where it's currently trading at, this is why I track all these patterns, just to make sure, but you can see right now that based on this reference pattern, this would be considered resistance. The 550 is considered resistance. So if it does start climbing down tomorrow, if it comes down to $5 again, then now we start shifting on over to this reference pattern here. So there's a few, but one of them just does it a lot quicker. Pretty much all get to the same range. So this one they both get to the $12 or $13 range. One just does it a lot quicker. All right, we got some matches. Let's show you guys what I found here. Ooh, these are pretty cool. Okay. All right. So here is a more interactive version of the scanner on the Discord. This one is I'm going to have it out at some point, but Right now, it's still in the beta stages. So I did an AMC scan on the 2-minute interval with 150 bars to go back, and here are some of the scans that it found. So this is AMC right now, as we can see. Here's a couple of matches, and it also shows you a projection for each one, which is pretty cool. So this one has a lot of correlation, right? We also have, and one of the things I look at too is the percentage difference between the low and the high of the window it's tracking. This is not the biggest thing I look at. I mean, I just want to make sure that if there is a high correlation with a stock or a cryptocurrency, that if it also has high correlation and the price difference is similar, and it has an option chain as well, that's even better. So some of these, see, like this is Domino's Pizza, and obviously Domino's Pizza is not going to have as much volatility, but pattern structure wise, it looks very similar. This one also looks similar. Micro MVST. Ooh, price is, I do like this one, so let's check this one out. This is June. Okay, so this happened yesterday. MVST. MVST does have very little volume though, but it did happen yesterday, so that's sometimes these algorithms, man, they will take turns kind of doing their thing. From 9 a.m. to now, we'll do it. So this was yesterday at 9. No, and it's saying that there's a match here, and there is. So look at that. So this is a pattern that it scanned. This is how it finds them, by the way. It there's some calculations that have to do with it, but this one also is calling for a retest at the $5 range, and the pattern that we just pulled up, Perry, has the same thing happening, right? Also has it stopping in this range. So if the price does come down again, this doesn't mean that AMC is going to come down, but if it does, or if it consolidates up here for a little bit and it drops tomorrow and it starts following this pattern, then it's more likely that we would have Perry set up. I do like that though, and that's kind of interesting, man, just to see how these algorithms, again, just rinse and repeat, man. Hey, just rinse and repeat. It's just crazy. Matt, so with that green pattern that we're tracking, also one thing that is going to invalidate that pattern is a stop at this range, right? So if we do not cross the say maybe the 575, because these are moving averages, they don't take into account the wicks. So if we go up there and then we get shut down, we come back to that 550 range and then cross below, then that would probably invalidate how quickly that pattern would play out. The levels I still think are going to play out, but probably a little bit slower. The algorithm will slow things down a little bit. All right, let me see what else. Third, I did like one of the first patterns that it found here. May 31st. June 5th to June 6th was the other one. A lot of patterns with very little data. Like this one has very little data. I'm not going to use that one. May 30th. This is the other one it pulled up. From 12 right here. Do an entire day. And because these are not fractals, guys, these are 1-to-1. So I do, this is why they look the way they do. That why the correlation is so high is because they are pretty much being scanned on the same intervals. So it's got to take a day here. 12, 12. So this is the one that it found. I'm trying to see where. This one has a higher correlation with the levels, I think, more than the time. The other one has a higher correlation with the time. Let me know if you guys want me to scan a stock or anything. I can do that right now, man. Floki. Yeah, man. Let me just make sure. One of the things that I have not just make sure that it is something I can scan, because there are certain I know this is a weird thing, but there are certain charts that if they fall below the, you know, like the 10th of a decimal of a penny, that the scanner will not scan those properly yet. I can try it. I'll try it out here with it should. I've only had, to be honest, the only issue I've had with any crypto scanning has been Pepe for some reason. So I will do that. I'll scan it and see if it works. I guess we'll find out here in a second. All right, so it did start scanning, but we'll see when it spits out the results. I also want to take a look at the cycle real quick, guys, because the cycle is also calling for upside. And this is one of the things that that I've been really, tracking here every day just to make sure the direction is also pointing up. Because this pattern, even though it doesn't, one of the things I'm not going to be tracking on this pattern is the timing as much. I want to more than anything track the structure, and the structure is still going to be calling for the same thing, which is a projector pattern like that. I think the entire volume right here in the cycle will probably be sped up, will happen a lot quicker. But yeah, this also is showing the correct levels for this, what we call an inverse pattern. In the cycle, the red portion is typically the section that dictates where the direction of the stock is going to be going on the, for the next POI. And I've already said this, I'll say it again, but this POI, I personally do not think will be a positive POI, meaning that I don't think this is going to keep going. If it does, guys, that will be awesome. But I'm tracking this entire cycle here based on the quad witching dates that we talked about. And if it does reach the $12 to $13 range by the quad witching date here in the next few weeks, then it's more likely that that AMC would trade sideways in that range for a little while. Because market makers, again, they have to hedge for every single monthly expiration, and the way they do that is by playing these tricky games. So you come back up, you retest resistance, more people start jumping in, and then they start consolidating the price for a little bit. So I said this on Twitter, man, like it's going to be fun as hell tracking AMC, and it has been, but it's slow on the way up until the stock or the cycle becomes vulnerable enough for a break here and essentially a squeeze. So realistically speaking, unless Roaring Kitty has $250 million, it's unlikely that he will exercise those options. And you guys, this is one thing that we got to be careful here with as far as the catalyst goes, and tracking the cycle here and where we start seeing these price targets. If the price goes up to $12, and this is going to have to do with GME and AMC, right? If it goes up to $12 or $13 in the short term, and Roaring Kitty decides to sell his contracts, just know that the media might use that against retail, right? They might start pushing out this narrative, right, that Kitty sold on GME or something, and then that would be fun, right? And that essentially would cause selling pressure. You go back to this whole thing, composite man, right, controlling the algorithm, and then the price starts coming down. So that's one of the things I'm tracking, because I do believe it's unlikely he would exercise the contracts unless he comes up with $250 million, right? Because to exercise, you need to have the equity, the capital to be able to do that. And I'm not sure if he's worth that much money, or if he has that money. So I would think that he would just sell those contracts, and then maybe essentially what could happen is he sells them and then he buys more stock, because he could do that. He could sell them and then buy the shares after that. So we'll see how it goes, man. But I'm definitely waiting for that. That's going to be a huge series of catalysts, really, in the way that it all pans out, because you have him either selling or exercising, which we won't know yet, and then how Composite Man here is going to use that to fit this this cycle, this narrative. And yeah, he doesn't have to exercise them all. He could exercise some. He could sell the rest. So there's really no rule. The one thing we do know, though, is that he has to do all of this. He has to make a decision by the 21st. And I do think it's likely that we will have a something before that, because if GME is not trading, above the $30 range by then, it becomes very risky for him to just be holding until the 21st to do anything, because we've seen GME fall 50% in a matter of 2 days. So that's a very risky thing to do. I don't think he's going to do that. All right, the scanner is almost done here for Floki. After that, I'll scan Rivian or Lucid. Interesting ones I haven't scanned, man, in a while. Lucid has been it's crazy, man. This pattern right here. Nope. Yeah, now crypto's making a nice little bounce too. Like Mara is just said psych. Paramount, GME back at 13%. Chilling with Amy. All right, guys. So I am running the scanner still for Floki. For those that are just coming in, real quick, this is a little bit of how it works. It is available on the Discord. So here's the command and some of the things you have to enter before it starts scanning. This is one we did earlier today for Paramount. You select the length, the interval. It's the hourly. I'm scanning it on the 100 bar interval, and then it comes up with matches. You can see the matches up there. Yeah, pretty cool stuff, man. Been really, really working on this thing over time for a long, long time, man. And finally, it's been ready for use, man. So Been scanning the heck out of stocks. It's the way that I found the majority of the reference patterns that we're tracking are found through the scanner. And now it has a feature where before it was just scanning on the daily, and now there are 4 other intervals that we're scanning on: 2-minute, 5-minute, 15, and the hourly. So a lot more matches coming up. All right. So guys, I do think, based on this pattern here, you see that it ends up coming back up, but you start dealing with theta a little bit, specifically speaking about options. Theta is something these guys love to focus on, because that is where they fake out like crazy, man. You trade in a parallel channel and you just fake out in that parallel channel. You start doing that. That's what I got right here. This is the projection that I have for the next few weeks. Okay, so far, the one that did track, and remember that the algorithm slows certain periods in time. In this case, we had the volatility zone a little bit earlier, right after the projector, which we do have playing out, but I'm still shifting my projection. Like, the original one looks like this, right? The original projection looks like this. So it's going to, I think, 2 ways this can really pan out, and that is on the table. We're going to find out very soon. Yes, if it does start climbing in the after-hour session, if we start seeing, 6 and then 7, it goes to 8, well, then at that point, the volatility zone is playing out according to the way we had it. Yeah, I'm looking at timing, man. Timing is, and again, talking about this Theta channel here with options, and I think this probably, becomes some more likely scenario. And it's only Tuesday, man. It's only Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they have been doing that a lot, man. The whole thing where they run it, either early on Monday or on Fridays. They have been doing that a lot. I think we'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out very soon what they're gonna end up doing here. If it does trade sideways, like expected here, then it's pretty much a version of this projection here a little bit. It's a version of this one. I have where's the pattern? This one right here. You can see it's a version of it. We didn't have the fake out. We had just the bounce. But yeah, by then this would pretty much say that either on Friday or potentially Tuesday, we would see that happen. So right now, this pattern is. I mean, we're already starting to see a little bit of downside here, uh, with the micro scanner on the 2 minute. We found this pattern here, and it's still tracking. So it's pretty much saying the rest of the rest of the day, we would just see maybe the 550 range again. If this flips, though, yeah, paying attention to the after hour session, because we can flip here, guys. The algorithm decides to flip. The MACD indicator on the monthly, or I actually haven't taken a look at this. It's pretty interesting. It is, yeah, it is turning green on the monthly with a cross on whatever settings this is on. But yeah, if we're just looking at MACD without this too, that is bullish to look at here. I mean, the last time we did that was over here, September of 2020. Hmm. Let's see with GME. All right, with GME, it like clear, it just crossed. Yeah, I mean, this is bullish, man. Yeah, I mean, here before we hit this POI, it narrowed down a lot. Like, it didn't even give time for any, like, you could kind of see the curve here. Maybe it would have lasted another few months, but no, this one just went. Uh, yeah, I think that's bullish. I think that definitely is bullish. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up, man. Appreciate that. All right. So for my boy, wanted to scan Floki. I do have the matches here. Want to make sure that. Oh, they came out pretty great, actually. Ooh, they look nice, dude. These look nice. All right, so let's pull those up. Let's pull those up. Oh, maybe it'll work with Pepe now. All right, guys. So here is Floki on the hourly, and I did 250. And here's some of the matches that it found. I do like this one. This is on the hourly, guys. Okay, so this is taken from June 3rd up until today. It gives you the price difference as well. So this one did a Floki's down -30 from the high to the current, and this one went down about 50%, but it still gives you a projection. So these have already happened. This happened in 2022, and then at that point, you go back, you look at the chart, and see if those two are have a good correlation, right? None of these, and why you got to take everything with a grain of salt, right? Because these are reference patterns. It's the same approach that I take just on analyzing AMC and other stocks in the market, because it's kind of like a cheat code a little bit. If you think about it, what are we doing in the markets, right? We're analyzing technical analysis, trying to figure out what a stock is doing, and this is pretty much doing that for you using historical patterns that have already done, these cups, these flags, these wedges, and all that stuff. This is another nice match, AMPL. These have, so yeah, it goes down to the same range. Again, the projection here is just going to spit out like 100 bars, but you got to go and, I have to manually go and look at the chart. This is another good one here, LRC. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these look great, man. I think some of the ones I would track and look at, and you can kind of go back, rewind the video here a little bit, maybe SRN, USD. I would look at LRC from October 31st to November 11th. I would look at AMPL from April 2nd to April 13th. NKN. And yeah, those four I think are pretty good correlations. For sure, man. All right. Somebody else wanted me to scan Lucid, so we're going to do Lucid next. All right, Lucid on scan. Guys, and if you want to check this out, man, it is on the Discord. It is on the Discord. It runs throughout the day. You get an alert when it's online, and then you're able to scan some stocks, some cryptocurrencies. Okay, so here's one of the patterns we scanned earlier today on the scanner. We did it live here, and it's saying that this is potentially a short-term bottom. We would see it climb back up to 550, so we'll see if that holds. But so far, it's been tracking, guys. It got the high, it got this low, and then now we're potentially going to see this. If this ends up playing out, and then potentially tomorrow a low of 5 would be on the table, potentially. But we'll see if the algorithm does flip things here in the after-hour session, or if we get our straight volatility zone as we were looking at. Okay, cool. All right, so AMC's dropping a little bit here. Is GME dropping too? No, just AMC. Why? That's a pretty hefty candle. Am I missing something, guys? Like 2%, man. I mean, when's the last time we saw AMC and GameStop trade like cryptocurrencies? I mean, you guys seen the crypto space? It does. I mean, honestly, there's like more volatility I feel like on AMC and GameStop right now. It's kind of crazy to look at. Because in leverage markets, like where you use margin and stuff, these guys really focus on the, liquidating positions and stuff. So you see these massive drops of like, I mean, depending on the crypto, obviously. Why are we dropping that much, though? Okay, I do like this wick here, though, for a reversal. All right, scanner for Lucid. Almost done. Here's the projection that I have, guys. Short term, just a little bit of downside consolidation and then a continuation. Yes, man, MM's manipulating. Yes, is what we believe, but, cracking the code, trying to figure out how they do it is the best way to fight against it, for sure. All right, we got some scans. Let's see. Okay, let's bring her up. There we go. Lucid on the hourly. Okay, some scans here for the chart. Okay. So every time frame you use is obviously going to have a different match, all of that, all the parameters that are inputted in are going to give you a different match. So yeah, I can see FTNT is probably the one that has the better correlation. This one has a pretty hefty, projection here. Let's take a look at that. Curious to see what that is. So February 16th to March 9th, 2022. February 16th. Okay, so it's this entire thing here. So we're going to do 2 months. It's 2 months. Okay, right around. I'm eyeballing a little bit, but it's about 2 months. So that is the pattern it found. Based on that, so with and you can see it based on the volatility. If I pull this back up, right, it says that Lucid is down about 9% right now from the high and the low of the window, and FTNT is down almost 21. So you can clearly see that with volatility, it is going to be a different thing. We're just looking at pattern structure here is the most important thing. Yeah, and I would agree with something like this because, well, Lucid right now is trading on support, right? So this pattern is basically saying that those two would match in that range. And it's also very, very important to go back and also see the historical data of that stock. In this case, we have FTNT. Right, here's the match. And looking at historical data is just going to back up the analysis, right? Also have it retesting with a fake out. Okay, on Lucid, we would have also the same retest, guys. We have 1, 2, 3, and this would be 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, and then 4 with a fake out. So essentially what could happen here is, Lucid could also fake out before climbing back up into that 250 before hitting 3 again. Nice little pattern right there. Okay. Guys, I will give the scanner here a little break. I'll be doing more lives, man, and I'll be scanning more of these stocks. But again, you guys could do this all on the Discord. I do have it available on there for you guys to use. It is limited to the trading day hours just for now because it is the beta version. But once we start knocking it out and essentially deploy it as an application, it'll be available for use. So it's in the testing stages. Want to see what works, what doesn't work. Right now, it's working great, man. It's doing great things. Okay, so it does look like AMC is following that macro projection right now just because of this candle, guys. It is a pretty hefty candle. So I am going to hold to that second projection that I have. Pull it up here. And I made this a little bit earlier today. It went up to that 550, and now essentially it's saying 5 would be a target. And then once it hits 5, expecting some theta channels for the MMs, right? These guys love the theta channels. Otherwise, the other projection is still, they're both still going to be calling for $8. I mean, that is my short-term projection, not financial advice. That is just my opinion based on what we have been tracking here, guys. And what we have been tracking, man, has been pretty freaking accurate lately. So I'm loving the algorithm right now. Loving the algorithm. Okay, so that is it for today's video, guys. Wanted to go live and kind of showcase this whole deal. Yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed. All right, make sure you guys are subscribed if you want to get those notifications for when I post videos and when I go live. All righty, we'll see you guys on the next stream.